All right, greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Sorry for the late start. I really apologize. Rumble Studio is being quirky today, so expect the unexpected. Just being weird. Had to delete the show and start it all over again, which was not fun. But anyways, we're here. And greetings and welcome. Start with this stuff here. Wildfires still going in South Carolina. strong winds in the area are helping to fuel this. And it might just be me, but I think it's not really fire season in South Carolina, but maybe I'm wrong. The Black Cove and Deep Woods fires remain 0% contained, prompting evacuations, while the Fish Hook fire is 50% contained with no evacuations. All right, sound is okay. Thanks, y'all. A massive forest fire in South Korea. Oop. Shit. Oops. Sorry. Rockfinners, you still there? Sorry about that. I think you should still be there. If you guys have any issues, let me know on Rockfin. I accidentally backspaced the Rockfin tab. My bad. Massive forest fire that began in Yusong, Gyeongbuk has been spreading for 4 days, affecting Andong, Cheongsong, Juangsan National Park. The wildfires resulted in 12 fatalities, with deaths reported in Andong, Cheongsong, Yongyang, and Yongdeok. It's like fairly crazy conditions to be operating in, yeah? Still there? Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Maybe at least as far as the South Korean fires go, could be helping to fuel this. Our high temperatures in the area. In China, it hit 106 Fahrenheit in March. 40.9 C at Badu in China. Wild. Very warm weather going on there. Um, 209 stations broke a March record. The record-breaking range tomorrow will be even larger. That's today. Tomorrow being today or tomorrow. I don't know. What is it? China is like a day ahead of us. Who knows? I don't know. So yeah. Meanwhile, back in the States, our Constitution is on fire. Or becoming not worth not much more than the paper it's written on, or was written on. The parchment. Tufts University, Runesa Öztürk, was detained for her pro-Palestinian activities. And these are, we'll listen to the video here. The arresting officers decided to keep all their faces covered. What they're doing is totally legal, of course, right?
You guys covering your faces? You want to take those masks off?
Apparently, the protesters can't wear masks, but the officers can.
Is this a kidnapping? Yeah, you don't look like it. Why are you hiding your faces? Why are you hiding your faces? Can I see some faces here? How do I know this is the police? Seems like bullshit to me. Certainly looks like it. Bit of a kidnapping going on here?
Oh, I love when that happens.
What you can say.
Anyways, Tufts international student Rumeysa Öztürk detained by feds. Rumeysa Öztürk, a Turkish doctoral candidate at Tufts University, was taken into custody Tuesday night. Friends and supporters suspect Öztürk is the first Boston area college student detained by federal agents over pro-Palestinian activism. I'm sure this is being done to supposedly international students, although it's, Mahmoud has a green card. I'm sure she has a green card too. Maybe not. The detention comes days after a pro-Israel group called the Canary Mission reportedly doxed Öztürk for anti-Israel activism. This is meant to send a chill to anyone who's speaking up against what Israel is doing. Coming from people that are more traditionally, can be traditionally designated as, outside agitators or something like that. But eventually, you can paint all kinds of people with that brush. Plenty of American-born citizens do not support this. Do not support what Israel is doing. Reports have pointed to an op-ed. She wrote an op-ed in the Tufts Daily in which Ozturk and other students call on the university to acknowledge the Palestinian genocide and divest from companies tied to Israel. Kanbabi says she doesn't know Ozturk's whereabouts and hasn't been able to reach her. She doesn't know of any criminal charges being filed against Ozturk. She filed a petition in federal court Tuesday night to ensure Ozturk won't be removed from the District of Massachusetts, which a federal judge approved. The Trump administration is increasingly targeting student protesters for their political views on the war in Gaza. Most high-profile examples have been the detention of Columbia University alumnus Mahmoud Khalil and student Yun Xiao Chung. A federal judge Tuesday granted a temporary restraining order barring federal immigration officials from detaining Chung, a legal permanent resident who has lived in the country since age 7. Yeah. Denver. People generally don't cheer for their own country's coup d'etat. Yeah, that's right. Schulte, Peter Tosh, lyrics. The great Peter Tosh. Late great. Jay Bhattacharya has been appointed a position has been confirmed as the director of the NIH. I generally like Jay Bhattacharya. I've liked the things that he's had to say, and a lot of people might see this as a good thing, but we can't really, like, everything on its face is not what it seems, especially with this administration. People who, and I'm not really sure whether they're heroic and they're co-opted or they were co-opted from the beginning. Who knows how long the machinations have been in place. But anyways, 7 C's. And I'm talking about RFK Jr. specifically, or maybe Tulsi Gabbard. Are the people that had their hearts in the right place and got turned in an official capacity, or to act a certain way in official capacity, or playing politics to be in an official capacity, or were they just playing all along? 7 C's points out Jay Bhattacharya is good friends with, you guessed it, Peter Thiel. This is the main man ushering in your mass surveillance, digital ID, AI government, and social credit dystopia. Anyone who associates with this man wants to see globalism in its worst forms. It's all one big club, and we are not in it.
Off at Stanford, and health policy can be done.
And Jay Bhattacharya, is from Stanford, and Peter Thiel has quite a bit of influence in Stanford, So you have to wonder about the connection.
Must be done. Maybe maybe there's so many anecdotes one can start with, but I thought I'd start with one that involves a good friend of mine from undergraduate days at Stanford. Jay Bhattacharya, he sort of ended up pursuing sort of center-right, vaguely libertarian, ended up pursuing an academic career, got a PhD in econ, medical degree, eventually became a tenured prof at Stanford in health policy and spent decades plugging away, writing various papers and books on what didn't work about socialist medicine of one sort or another, and then can be done what must be done.
Let's look at a really good post too by Seven Seas around, well, Susan Wojcicki, who was head of 23andMe, founder, one of the founders of 23andMe, also, YouTube. Overlord, or was the CEO of YouTube until 2023. Oversaw basically the demise of YouTube as a platform where ideas can be shared freely. Let's look at this. Seven Seas is known for creating these webs of influence and the ties that people have to each other. And what does this have to do with Jay Bhattacharya? Well, Stanford, that's what it has to do with. What was this comment here? Just wanted to read this. Dr. Shiva saying something about Bhattacharya, like a limited hangout. Okay. Love Dr. Shiva for his outspokenness. Anyways, this is a lot of this web is everywhere, but Palantir, there's obviously Peter Thiel, Palantir, and PayPal, and so many other things. Also influential at Stanford. CIA recruiters pull a coup at Stanford. Huh. There's also a connection to Sergey Brin. Israel-linked CIA-funded Palantir goes public, making espionage mainstream. There's a headline for you. There's the ties Trump to Epstein and to Netanyahu and to Peter Thiel. I'm sorry. Anne Wojcicki is the head of, that's Susan Wojcicki's sister. Sorry. Founder of 23andMe. My bad. Anne Wojcicki was married to, or is not married to Sergey Brin, was once married to Sergey Brin. Sergey Brin, also tied to Stanford. Sorry for confusing the Wojcickis, guys. My bad. Victory Jen says Stanford is the West Coast Harvard, not in a good way. Yeah, well, Harvard's like Harvard, not in a good way, sure. Boston is a bunch of right. Denver says Boston is a bunch of closet conservatives. I don't know if they're all that closet. Conservatives and fascists self-identify as progressive and liberal. Yeah, Boston is kind of a weird place for sure. The dude that owns Linux? What do you mean owns Linux? Linux, what is that? You mean like not like the operating system Linux? Is it something else? Help me understand, Timothy. Help me. So anyways, And then there's Nicole Shanahan, who is she currently married to Sergey Brin? I think she is. RFK's former running mate. She's also Stanford. She's Seven Seas goes on to say no direct link to Thiel. So Derek Rose was asking, the Wojcicki's are an interesting bunch. I've written about some of these connections in Bill Gates as well. What is the direct link to Thiel? No direct link to Thiel exactly, but in this graphic I highlighted that Sergey Brin is from Stanford, where he also met Nicole Shanahan. Peter Thiel is an extremely influential figure there. Thiel recruits people from Stanford often to work with or for him. I see so many from Stanford taking a similar stance to Thiel on technocracy and transhumanism, which also seems to be some of the shared beliefs of Sergey Brin and Anne Wojcicki. Brin has been a contributor to the WEF alongside Thiel and also partners with the CIA and NSF and invests in biomedical research, much like other test creoles. Then there is this shared connection to Epstein, who was a transhumanist himself, hosted Brin at his The Edge conference and had connections to Thiel through things like Carbine 9/11. There's also their shared history of aiding and abetting Israel, etc., etc. Oh, I know you're talking about Timothy. Yeah, he said it will behave better when we can be tracked. I think I know what you're talking about. I think I remember seeing that video. Random. Let's see. Did I talk about Thomas Massey, the supposed, libertarian holdout freedom fighter who has a bunch of patents, like AI patents? I think that's right. Let's see if we can find this. I feel like he has AI and or some kind of transhumanist or investments in like some AI. Filed patents for haptic interface device. This invention allows users to interact with virtual objects and feel the interaction forces, which can be used in AI-driven simulations or training applications. Smart thermostat hub. This device can communicate with other smart devices and management platform, potentially integrating AI for automated home management and security. So that's some things that Thomas Massey is into. Okay. So even the famed freedom fighter is into this technocratic panopticon future of AI driven surveillance and interactions and whatever. Yeah, I'm not remembering his name either, Timothy. Sorry. And racing sailboats and having a beer doesn't necessarily jog my memory, but anyways, all of these, I don't know, strange connections. Make it hard, definitely. to trust anybody who's in any of these roles. And I I get the skepticism on the part of a lot of people. I have the same I am skeptical of all kinds of people. So I get it. How about this for a headline? It's the ethically sourced part that has me a little spare human bodies, bodyoids. It's the ethically sourced part that has me a little bit, yeah. I just don't know. Human bodyoids could reduce animal testing, improve drug development, and alleviate organ shortages. When I read this headline at first, I think it said body parts. I guess it's spare human bodies. Okay. I put body parts in the title of this video. But whole bodies. I'm going to have to change the title. Got some spare human bodies around? I bet I know who does. Why do we hear about medical breakthroughs in mice but rarely see them translate into cures for human disease? Why do so few drugs that enter clinical trials receive regulatory approval? Why is the waiting list for organ transplanting so long? So long. These challenges stem in large part from the common root cause, a severe shortage of ethically sourced human bodies. May be disturbing to characterize human bodies in such commodifying terms, but the unavoidable reality is that human biological materials are an essential commodity in medicine, and persistent shortages of these materials create a major bottleneck to progress. Darn it, we got to do something about this. We must. The imbalance between supply and demand is an underlying cause of organ shortage crisis. And more than 100,000 patients currently waiting for a solid organ transplant in the U.S. alone. It also forces us to rely heavily on animals in medical research. A practice can't replicate major aspects of human physiology and makes it necessary to inflict harm on sentient creatures. Anyways, there might be a way to get out of this moral scientific deadlock. Recent advances in biotechnology now provide a pathway to producing living human bodies without neural components that allow us to think, be aware, or feel pain. Many will find this possibility disturbing, but if researchers and policymakers can find a way to pull these technologies together, we may be able to one day create spare bodies, both human and non-human. These could revolutionize medical research and drug development, greatly reducing the need for animal. I mean, yeah, creepy. 23andMe, Salt Lakers, yeah. Larry Ellison. Timothy Martin, yeah. Right? Just start cloning people. Cloning these bodies that supposedly don't have any pain receptors. Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead. That's right. Don't bring out your barely alive. Bring out your ethically sourced human bodies. Yes, lobotomized clones. Basically, yeah, that's right. They will make great politicians, indeed. Recently, researchers have used these stem cells to create. These are pluripotent stem cells. They can give rise to every type of cell in the adult body. Recently, researchers have used these stem cells to create structures that seem to mimic the early development of actual human embryos. They make it possible to envision the creation of bodyoids, potentially unlimited source of human bodies. Oh man. Think of the weirdness that can be done with that. And I'm sure that's exactly what they're thinking about. Well, we'll leave that there for now. And that is weird. China has revealed to everyone that they can cut your internet and if they want to. So China unveils a powerful deep sea cable cutter that can reset the world order. Beijing now has the power to disrupt global communications after scientists revealed a device that can sever undersea cables. Do I hear a massive... And the purpose of this article is probably multi-layered. Maybe they do have deep sea cutters. Maybe they've had them for quite a while. Maybe they're going to blame China for cutting the cables and creating a worldwide global internet blackout. Sorry guys, the internet's down. Can't do anything today. Can't do any banking today. Or shopping. Or anything. Golly gee, whatever shall we do? Compact deep sea cable cutting device capable of severing the world's most fortified underwater communication power lines has been unveiled by China. It could shake up global maritime power dynamics. The revelation marks the first time any country has officially disclosed that it has such an asset capable of disrupting critical undersea networks. So it's they're saying they can do it. It's just the first time they've admitted they can do it, which makes me think that maybe they have had this for a while. Yeah, Denver. I mean, I think it's one of those ideas that's been out there. You've been calling it for years. Might be one way to create some panic, induce some pain. That would probably be very easy to leverage into we could turn it back on, but gonna have to just take away a few more of those civil rights that you like to have so much in your precious Constitution. Free speech isn't so free, is it, buddy? All right. Yeah. Yep. They're not. Yes, Schultze says prepare for this to happen soon. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's see. Victory Jin tagged me in this. It's interesting. I think so. Florida is trying to pass Florida and several other states. Tennessee has already passed it, passing an anti-geoengineering bill. But this guy's like, hey, hold on. Let's talk about this geoengineering.
My name is Augustus DeRico. I'm the CEO and founder of Rainmaker. We're a cloud seeding company that is enhancing precipitation via advanced radar and also drones for the sake of supplementing water supplies for farms, cities, reservoirs, and wildlife throughout the United States. Our ultimate vision is to end water scarcity, and we've begun that mission already. I'm testifying to not oppose the spirit of this bill, which I think is well founded.
I love it. Ending water scarcity. Such a humanitarian goal there. Just making it rain, because water scarcity. Huh. There's a lot of water out there. I have a feeling it's like, who has access to the water? Who owns the rights to the water? I think that's a better question. But he's just here for the people, helping out humanity. This is just a humanitarian mission. If he makes a little, scratch on the side, all good.
Founded, but the current configuration of the bill that I think would impede this mission for ending water scarcity and also for bringing the best-in-class technology to Florida and the rest of the United States. The first point that I'd like to make is the difference between solar radiation management and cloud seeding. And so Senator Garcia did bring this up briefly. Solar radiation management is a very new technology. It's not something that's been tested at length. NOAA has done some very initial experiments.
This guy is right here. This is a bunch of nonsense. It's so new. This is such a new technology. It's brand new, and again, he's pushing the line out. Oh, we're just trying to see if it works, guys. And if you are, naive enough to believe this stuff, I don't know.
Experiments on its efficacy. It is attempting to reduce the amount of solar radiation that makes it down to the planet by injecting reflective aerosols into the upper atmosphere. Once you inject these aerosols, they stay in the stratosphere.
Or just make some clouds that stay up all day long and turn into like a haze. You've never seen that before? Nobody's ever seen that before. Not one person has ever seen a bunch of lines in the sky that just kind of spread out. That's not the same thing as reflecting radiation back into the sky. I think it is. I think it's kind of the same thing. I mean, maybe people are getting hung up on the thing about reflective. I mean, if you're casting a shadow, or just, it's like a shade cloth, right? It's just kind of gauzy. Some light gets through, but a lot of the light is filtered out. And if you put clouds up in this, it's like shade cloth. You just put clouds up, spread out. It's just not all light, but a lot less light. That translates into heat. It's not. Maybe it's reflective. Maybe it isn't. But it certainly is some kind of radiation management. Absolutely, radiation management. This guy is 100% pure acting. Straight from the casting couch.
For years. They have effect.
Or is it the casting call? I said casting couch. That was a little. I mean, maybe he was on somebody's couch. I don't know.
On the entire climate.
Central
data from
is what I meant to say.
From these experiments, because the experiments have been so few, is limited, and so the implications of them are not something that are well tested yet.
I don't know how
cloud
it works.
seeding is altogether different. The only similarity is that it has to do with the atmosphere. It has to do with the low atmosphere. It's a mechanism.
We got some big old brains, and we just don't even understand how this works because we're just abiding by the UN ban on geoengineering. We're just, following the rule of law and stuff.
It's a tool that either freezes the water in existing clouds or condenses the droplets in existing clouds into bigger snowflakes or bigger droplets such that they fall onto your target watershed or farm. It's a technology that has existed for 80 years in the United States. It was patented by GE in 1946. But it hasn't been viable for a long time because we didn't have the appropriate radar to measure exactly what its effect is. I can tell you definitively that there is not cloud seeding going on in the state of Florida.
He's got the haircut.
Because you would be able to see its effect on radar. So the National Center for Atmospheric Research produced some great results from what's called the Snowy campaign, where they were able to verify cloud seeding's effect. And they saw tens of millions of gallons of precipitation occur from each of their interventions. And that was very, very easily distinguishable on radar. It also is worth saying that it's local in its scope, and it is very short temporally. So if ever there is cloud seeding going on and you don't like the consequences of it, there are unintended consequences, and it's quite well characterized, so the unintended consequences are minimal. You can stop whenever you like. So that point of differentiation between solar radiation management, which is something that I think the public should scrutinize more heavily, and cloud seeding, is important to make from the top. Then the second point I'd like to make is that, it has to do with the safety of cloud seeding, right? Because this has to do with environmental health, particularly pollution.
Totally safe, guys.
Cloud seeding is conventionally done with a chemical called silver iodide. It's LD50, so its lethal dose is 10 times higher than aspirin. And we're using about 50 grams per each operation. That's as much as can fit in the palm of your hand, right? That's less flour than is in a slice of bread. So the amount that accumulates into watersheds is in the parts per trillion after decades of operation. And we have data to prove that from programs that exist throughout the United States. This leads me into another point, which is... you're
just saying words. We have data to prove that. Where's the data? He's just saying, like, you can say, oh, well, we've got the data and the graphs. Are you showing anybody the data in the graph?
The precedent that other states have set in cloud seeding permitting and licensing. So I think that, per what I said at the top of my commentary, the spirit of this bill to protect Floridians, to protect Americans from environmental pollution.
I'm all for it.
That is great. And I think that permitting and licensing absolutely should exist. It does exist in states like Texas and Utah and Idaho. So this isn't a blue state or red state issue. California has a process as well. New Mexico has a process. And we don't want anybody wantonly modifying the weather. So implementing a permitting...
Wanton? Would you like one? Would you like some extra wonton soup with your cloud seeding? Come on.
It's only done responsibly and safely with best-in-class meteorological practices. That makes sense, and we advocate for that. Not only do we advocate for that, Rainmaker Technology Corporation, has engineers in all of those states that I mentioned that are actively modifying
in every state. Oh my God! How big is this corporation? You guys are like a giant squid, dude. No, I don't believe you at all about anything. Nah, not this guy. That
are actively enhancing precipitation for farmers and reservoirs and cities that are undergoing drought. And that brings me into like my third closing point.
Right. He's trying to tell you what how minimally invasive silver iodide is, or how little they use. I don't, nah. He's saying that they use the amount that fits in the. And something tells me that's. I mean, you can say anything you want and be authoritative about it, and it sounds really good. That's how Tony Heller does it. You can say anything you want, and it sounds well. Yeah, if you agree already with it, or if you're prone to agree, or if you like the dude's haircut. Oh well, yeah, this guy is really speaking he's really talking that talk.
Like, what is this bill about? What are we voting on here? Yes, this has to do with Florida, first and foremost. I don't think that burdening the state with more regulation, with more permitting on investigation is something that it would necessarily be excited about. But if it was for the sake of protecting Floridians, that makes sense. I don't think that we want to
pull out the old regulation line. Do we need more regulation from the government? Yeah, you do. If you actually want to stop poisoning the planet, you actually need some more regulation from the government, or regulation from somebody. Somebody needs some regulation, some regulating, if you want to stop poisoning the planet, right? Let's say there's no government, but there still is Monsanto. Let's say there still is Rainmaker, Corporate Technologies Corporation. Who's going to regulate these people? If it isn't the government, who is it going to be? A bunch of people walking out to the airstrip going, halt right there. Stop what you're doing. We're here to inspect things. Who is going to do it? It's amazing to me how little people think things through. Just very, very little. My God. I can't really take any more of this, dude. But you guys got the idea. Oh, I found out who that woman, the spokeswoman for the U.S. State Department. Her name is Tammy Bruce, and let's listen to her talk about Israeli nukes. Sam Husseini getting back into the press room and giving them the old body blow. And she's like, no, I'm gonna just not. Sam Husseini presses U.S. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce about Israeli nukes, noting that JFK was pushing for inspections just before he was assassinated. Every president since has adopted Israel's policy of refusing to acknowledge the existence of Israel's nuclear arsenal, which goes back to Bill Hicks's joke about whenever somebody's elected president, they just take you in a room and show you a never before seen tape of JFK getting assassinated, and they turn to the person and go, "Any questions?" So every president since has adopted Israel's policy of refusing to acknowledge the existence of Israel's nuclear arsenal. My question to you is, will this administration finally do so? Let's listen to this exchange. It's very interesting.
That's where we're going to go. And in the back, did I hear JFK? Because interestingly, we haven't brought that up yet. So let's give that a try here. Who is JFK? So who keeps saying JFK?
Excellent, thank you.
In the back. All right, let's do it.
The JFK assassination's obviously back in the news, and Jefferson Morley of JFK Facts was on Bill O'Reilly's show, analyzing some of the documents that the Trump administration has released. One of the revelations that he discussed was the fact that James Angleton, the CIA counterintelligence chief, had relied on Israelis as part of his intelligence gathering operations, which included monitoring Oswald prior to the assassination.
It's indisputable that he kept him under surveillance for 4 years, from 1959 to 1963. These new documents point to an Israeli connection using Israeli agent to monitor Oswald.
As you may be aware, JFK in the summer of 1963 was deeply concerned with Israel acquiring nuclear weapons. He had sent a series of letters to Ben-Gurion, Israel's founding prime minister, demanding that Israel allow inspectors. Ben-Gurion resigned just when he was pressed on the issue by JFK.
Something I can say to this.
Yeah, I do.
I do. I
got a question for you.
Right.
Israel continued stalling the inspections, and JFK was, of course, assassinated in November. Every president since has adopted Israel's policy of refusing to acknowledge the existence of Israel's nuclear arsenal. My question to you is, will this administration finally do so?
Boy, we went from JFK and then to now Israel's
will you
nuclear
acknowledge
arsenal.
Israel has nuclear weapons?
I understand. Here's what I will tell you about the JFK files.
Long answer.
There's about 80. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. About 80,000 pages of unredacted records related to the Kennedy assassination are currently being released, and I think they've finished at this point by order of President Trump. We know that also, as I'd been asked before, if there was any other, this is it. This is all the material. It's out, and again, unredacted, and so that's good news. For my generation, this is also good news. Certainly, as you grow up with that kind of a dynamic that happened in this country, and now, of course, we happily can say that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is contributing to the nature of our nation and making a difference as well. As far as the speculation and conspiracy theories, about what was happening regarding that assassination and in the
Conspiracy
decades
theories.
that followed. I have no comment for you, and nor am I going to speculate or
So you
comment
will
on
not
that. But
acknowledge
I
that
appreciate
Israel
you
has
being here
nuclear
and
weapons?
asking that at the end.
No-
Yes, sir.
no
Go
straight
ahead,
talk
please.
on
Thank you.
Israel.
So much
Go
on
ahead.
America
Bangladesh.
first.
Please. Let's keep going. You're
Thank you, Tammy. On Bangladesh, I have two questions.
Okay. So, yeah. We need less government. Giants like Monsanto can't exist without government to enforce their crimes. Well, I guess, yes, on some level. I suppose if they existed and people just were like, no, you're bad, we are not using any of your products whatsoever. I don't know. They're just, who's going to, I mean, what's the difference between a well-armed militia and a police force? I guess you could say the well-armed militia might be a band of citizens who want their interests protected. And a police force might be a government entity that wants the government's interests protected. I can see that argument. But it's still kind of the same entity. I'm just saying. I mean, you're going to have an organization of people, and then they're going to be like tasked with enforcing something. So who's going to enforce what? Well, I don't know. Do we have any examples of well-armed militias being? I mean, you would assume that you would say no, but you ever see a lynch mob? Some people might call that a well-armed militia. You ever seen just a mob of people go nuts? Oh. Who regulates the regulators is really the question at the end of the day, right? Sure. Yeah, no. I mean, your points are not bad points at all, Turin. I understand what you're saying. I get it. I'm just saying, we don't really have yet an example of when people govern themselves. So we don't rightly know, unfortunately. But we do know that if you let corporations run amok, they run amok. That's what they do. Whether the government's allowing them to do it or helping them to do it or not, they run amok. It's absolutely what they do. It's called the Gilded Age. I don't know. There was a whole period of history of an example of people just running amok. And history pretty much is human beings running amok. If you really want to like zoom way out, people get power. People, form armies. People get together to screw over the people next to them. I mean, that's kind of human history. So this can get philosophical after a while. I'm down. I'm down, Turin. I'm down. I'm not opposed. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, whoever it is, Monsanto or the Rainmaker Corporation, like somebody's gonna have to be like, nah, hold on there, Jack. Because otherwise, if nobody's gonna organize a resistance, they're just gonna do it. They're just gonna do it. suppose they have to have a buyer for their services. Oh. It would be a foolish endeavor for me to defend the government. I'm just saying there have been times when people have forced the government to do better things. That's not necessarily always the best way either, but you know. All right. Oh, man. We're running out of time. I'm running out of steam, y'all. And we've done about an hour of this. Let's see. Buying the way Rain God Inc. Buying the web page now. Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out here. I forgot to thank Denver for the tip yesterday on Venmo. Thank you, Denver. And what else is going on? Who else? Lou, thanks for the tip on PayPal, Lou. Appreciate you. Y'all is so nice and so kind. Don't know if I have anybody else to thank. Did you run a 6-minute amok extra buller, or was it like a 10-minute amok? You feel like you made progress. Okay. I mean, I feel like there are examples of people organizing themselves in very peaceful and productive ways. There's also examples of people organizing themselves in extremely violent and destructive ways. And what sucks is the people that organize themselves in violent and destructive ways tend to wander over onto the peaceful people's plot of land and go like, hey, you know what? I think I'll take this. And the peaceful people are like, hey, shit, we were just, we were just here, just like hanging out, and it was great. And then you assholes had to come over here and ruin everything. Jesus Christ. And then you force the peaceful people to like have to, defend themselves and take up arms. And if they're really good Zionist gaslighters, then they'll be like, oh man, why are you guys getting violent with us? We were just over here just checking you out. No, and they're like, no, you were violently taking over our plot of land, and we decided to defend ourselves. And they're like, you guys are terrorists. You guys are violent criminals. Now we're gonna have to take you all out. That's that's the playbook every time. It's pretty effective. Anyways, all right, guys. I think that's it. And I'll see you all tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific. Thanks everybody once again for hanging out, and enjoy the rest of your day. you.